Welcome to Miss Pan Science Lessons. Today is the lesson 3. We'll be reviewing the levels of organization, we'll do the introduction to the organ systems, and we'll be comparing the functions of cell organelles to the functions of an organ system. The brief overview for today: 7.12c, the TEKS for 7th grade science, recognize the levels of organization in plants and animals, including cells, tissues, organ systems, and organisms. And the second is 7.12e, compare the functions of cell organelles to the functions of an organ system. What we have completed in lesson 1 was 12f, recognizing the components of cell theory, and what we have completed in lesson 2 last was 12d, differentiate between structure and function in plant and animal organelles, including cell membrane, cell wall, nucleus, cytoplasm, mitochondria, chloroplast, and vacuole. So far, we also covered the comparison of prokaryote and eukaryote cells. We have talked about the 5 kingdoms. We have learned about the cell organelles and their functions, and the differences and similarities between the plant and animal cells. So let's talk about the cell organization. As we have learned in the last lesson, the smallest unit of life is the cell. Group of cells combine together to form the tissues combine together to form the organs combine together to perform the same function, and they are called the organ system, and the organ systems comes together to form the organism. I have 3 examples here for the cell organization. Number 1, the nerve cell, which combines to form the nervous tissue, which combines to form the organ brain, which makes up the part of the nervous system, which makes up the organism, the human. Example 2 for organization: muscle cell combines to form the muscle tissue, makes the organ muscle, makes the organ system, which is the muscular system, which makes the organism human. Example 3 is the skin cells, which combines to form the skin tissues, which combines to form the organ skin, which combines to form the organ system, integumentary system, and the organism again could be a human being. We talked about this briefly in the last lesson too. Some facts about the levels of organization. Cells is the basic unit of structure and function, and human beings have between 75 to 100 trillion cells. The tissues, which are made up of cells, can be 4 types: epithelial, muscle, nervous, and connective. The organs, which are made up of tissues performing a similar function, includes brain, stomach, skin, heart, intestine, lungs, and so on. Organ systems, also called the body systems, are made up of organs working together. Example, if I'm thinking of a digestive system, it is made up of organs like the mouth, esophagus, stomach, and the intestine. Another example would be if I'm talking about my nervous system, it includes my brain, the spinal cord, and the nerves. The last level, the biggest level, is the organism, which is the highest level of classification, which is made up of different organ systems working together. In the human, there are 11 body systems working together. Let's look at a cell, the smallest unit of life, and the picture here is the onion cells. Remember, onion, which is a plant kingdom, is also made up of cells. So let's wait here for a couple minutes and think. Do you remember the 3 components of cell theory? I'll give you the hint. I talked about the onion cells. Remember the first scientist to see the cell, which was the onion cell? A plant cell, which was a cork. It was Robert Hooke. So I want you to pause here and write down the 3 components of the cell theory. I'm moving to the next slide, but if you need more time, I want you to pause and write the answer down. You can refer to your notes. The 3 components of cell theory. There are some examples here. I've put some pictures. A cell. Here is a blood cell, the red blood cell. This is the picture of a nerve cell, the cell inside the brain. It is called a neuron. This is an example of epithelial tissue. Remember, tissues are made up of cells working together. This is an example of an organ. In this, the picture is of a heart. This is an organ called kidney. We have 2 kidneys, and we'll learn more about that in the next unit on body systems. These are the pictures. This is the picture of the 2 lungs. We have a pair of lungs too, left and right. Moving from the organ, we have the organ system called the body systems, and these are the 11 different body systems human beings have. We have the respiratory system, circulatory, also called the cardiovascular system, muscular system, skeletal system, integumentary system, nervous system, excretory, also called the urinary system, reproductive system, endocrine system, immune system, and the digestive system. So in this little topic, we are just gonna talk and mention the 11 systems, but we'll go more in details about each of the organs and the functions in the next unit. This is a picture of the skeletal system. As you can make out, it is made up of bones. The picture of the circulatory system, and as you can see, it is made up of the heart in the center of the body. And then you see 2 different types of blood vessels, the blue and the red, the arteries and the veins. This is the picture of a digestive system, and if you can see, it starts with the mouth, goes to the esophagus, stomach, the small intestine and the large intestine. It also includes the liver and the gallbladder. The highest classification for the levels of organization is the organism. And here are some pictures. I included some plants, some animals. I also included the kingdom fungi. If you can see on the bottom right is a picture of mushroom. Okay, the next subtitle, compare the functions of cell organelles to the functions of an organ system. So a reminder about the cell organelles, which we learned in lesson 2. You already have the video of the PowerPoint. Cell organelles are the structures inside the cell. An organ system or the body system is what we just learned about a little bit in the last few slides. So I'll give you 3 examples here. Think of cell organelles and the organ system. What takes out waste? If you take out the cell organelle, the structures inside the cell, you know that the outer layer of the cell, called the cell membrane, takes out waste because it controls what goes in and out. It takes in the nutrients and gives out the waste. So what can be the organ system that helps in taking out the waste? There can be more than one answer, but my example here is excretory system, which is when you use the restroom. That takes out the waste of our body. Even when you sweat, you're taking out the waste. So that's another example of an organ system. Moving on to number 2. What stores food and water? So what cell organelle stores food and water? We learned this in lesson 2 that vacuole stores food and water. Now think from today's presentation, which body system may be storing food and water? You can think of 2 examples. One can be the digestive system, where you eat, it goes to the stomach. And you can think of the excretory system that stores the urine in the bladder. So again, there are more than one example. Let's do the third one. What maintains balance or homeostasis? Homeostasis is a science word. Homeo means same and status means the state. So it maintains the same state. So which cell organelle do you think maintains balance in the cell? It can be cell membrane, just because it controls what goes in and out. It doesn't let everything go in and it doesn't let everything go out. What about the organ system? One example would be integumentary system. And I know that you wouldn't know it, but integumentary system is the system of the skin. Remember, skin is the largest organ. And when you're sweating, you're taking out the waste. It's maintaining balance. It can also be the respiratory system, because that also take out the waste. We take in oxygen and give out CO2. So it helps in maintaining homeostasis. Can you try out these two? What cell organelles and organ systems helps in protection? And which cell organelles and organ system helps make energy? I want you to write this down in your notebook. Protection and making energy. You can pause right here, take a minute or two. You can refer to your notes and write down both of the cell organelle for protection and energy, and then think of the organ system that helps in protection and the organ system that makes energy for the body. My example for protection for the cell organelle, it can be the cell wall. My organ system that helps in protection can be the skeletal system or the bones, because it protects my internal organs. What about makes energy? If you remember, the cell organelle that makes energy is mitochondria. Now, can you think of an organ system that makes energy for your body? One example would be digestive system, because that's what you're eating and that makes energy for your body. So what we learned today? We reviewed the cell organization. The cells combine to form tissues, tissues combine to form organs, organs combine to form organism. We compared the cell organelle functions to an organ system functions, and we did some introduction, just the basic touching on the 11 body systems. Questions or concerns after you make the notes, we'll talk about that in the next meeting. So please have your questions and concerns about Unit 3 cells, and I'll talk to you again. Take care.